Aaron, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to sit down with us and chat a little bit. And curious, what's the first 11 months been like for you?
Well, they've been busy, thankfully. We've had lots of support from previous customers, new customers. We're getting a lot of community support. So we're continuing on. We've got a lot of guys here that we've had some changes, but it's been all hands on deck, going full tilt since the takeover.
When you said you took it over, do you think does it actually feel like it's yours now, or when did that moment happen? You went, this is mine.
Well, really, probably when we got moved into this office over here. It was my project, through the times I was running the business, just starting out. Luckily, I had a good crew of guys around here, managers for each division, heating and electrical. I was able to actually take the month of most of January and February, and I built this office in a space that we were already leasing. So I was able to build everything, put it together, get everything moved in, get everything from our old offices moved in here. And, really once I did that, it really did feel like my business.
Could you signal out one thing that might be the most exciting and one thing that might be the most frustrating for you since you've taken over?
Easily most frustrating, employees. Number one most, and I guess it can be exciting and frustrating because really, to be honest with you, it probably is one of the most exciting things to watch the people that are handling my two divisions be able to do basically everything that needs to be done, and I can stand back and say, whoa, this is great. They're taking care of things. I can work on other aspects of my business. So that's a very exciting thing with employees, but on the other hand, there's other employees that it's a constant changeover. They're making mistakes, or they're not being team players. So there's the ups and downs of employees, and they really have taken me to really high points, being very, very proud of what they can do, and really look at it going, I helped these guys be able to do that.
What kind of advice would you pass along to someone else looking to take over a business that they've been a part of but not an ownership position, and looking to assume that role?
Well, if it's something that you've been thinking about and wanting to do since you've worked there, if you know the ins and outs and really know what you're getting into, and you've thought about it, I would strongly suggest to do it. Go for it. The way I look at it is if I could do it, anybody can.
Where are you turning to now for advice? And when you've got that thing, you think it's the right decision, or you're not sure it's about what should I do? How do you solve those puzzles?
Well, to be honest with you, the biggest influence in my life, my mom. She's a very smart woman. She's a businesswoman. She did a lot of good things. Well, she still does. She's who I turn to for help a lot of times. As well, I get help from Group 9, which is a group of business people from around town, CEOs of local businesses. I'm able to bounce ideas off of them, problems that I may be having. We can address those. And those guys help me through things as well.
Are you managing to get work-life balance in check?
I do my best. I start early in the morning, and that's typically when the boys and mama, they're still sleeping. They don't miss me, so I get in early. I'm able to be home by 5:30 or 6 every night and spend a couple hours with the family. I try not to work weekends. I take as much Saturdays and Sundays as I can. I've always been quite organized in my work, and my desk isn't piled up with too much stuff. That keeps what's going on in the office separate from my personal life. So when I walk out that door, I try not to have any thoughts or worries of, did I get this done or did I get that done? It's just I know that what I've gotten done today is what I can get done, and I'll start again tomorrow. I gotta find that switch that you shut off, and it's, now I'm the boss, I'm at the office, and I gotta switch it off, and I go home, and I'm a dad and a husband. I think I've been doing pretty good. The race car driving very much helps. It's a great release, and it's fun for me. I've always been a kind of a daredevil. It's always, you know, when I was a kid, I was riding the bike the quickest, chasing after my brothers, you know, doing whatever I could to get a thrill. And yeah, stock car racing, it works.
That's great.
It's great. Wow, growth in Penticton. I guess I got a lot of things to say about that. It's something that can happen. In trades and what we do, it's all dependent on apprentices. We're firm believers in growing apprentices here. We've always have been. That was a big thing that George always did. To me, it always makes sense. I was a young apprentice one time. Someone had to help train me to get me to where I am. That's where, for these industries, if we can have enough workforce and manpower to satisfy the demand, we can grow. So the growth for companies like mine, electrical companies, heating and air conditioning companies, basically any construction trades, it's having those apprentices and qualified journeymen to help train them, to help grow, to get the manpower. I believe the work is there, and there's enough people in this town to sustain growth of a company like mine. But if you don't have the workforce, you can't get the work done. You cannot grow. So that's where the work has to be done, is training apprentices, having the older fellows that are good journeymen. We got to keep them around for a little while longer to get those young guys trained up. And I tell you, we're doing our best here to get that going.